Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a great success story from a subscriber, and this is all about a young guy. This guy is in his early 20s, and he goes into this whole story about how pretty much his whole life, this guy made all the classic mistakes with girls, pretty much making girls his purpose in life, as opposed to actually chasing after his goals and ambitions and things like that. On top of that, this guy also had a major porn addiction from a very early age that obviously had an impact on him as well. Fortunately, you're going to see over time, through all these mistakes that he made and things like that, you're going to see that the guy eventually starts to get his life together, and now he's in a very, very good place. And his whole outlook on life has changed, his goals, ambitions, and he's at a place now in his early 20s, which, let's be honest, is very young, that he is now on the right path, in my opinion, okay? And this is where the realization he has at the end and where he is now and what he wants to do with his life and all that, that's where I want to get you guys all at that point, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. It's never too late to better yourselves and get things together. So I'm going to go over his story here. It's a little long, but it's definitely worth going into. And so you can see, the guys, you're not alone, okay? For many of you guys that probably made a lot of the same mistakes, you're not alone. This will probably make you feel a little bit better about your situation if you're in a bad one right now, and then you can come out on top. So it starts off, hello SSM. I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel, and I have been a subscriber for over a year. I believe the importance of what you teach young men in today's world, and I want to share my story with you, hoping that you can make a video out of this to guide others along their path. I do apologize in advance if it's a little long, but I'll try to keep my best to keep it short. I am a 22-year-old male living in New Jersey, and this is my story. I was a porn and something else, pleasuring oneself, addict, since I was 11. I remember growing up with my cousin, and he would show up at my house regularly throughout the week to play video games and hang out together. One time, we were browsing my older brother's laptop, and he got the sudden urge to start browsing for porn and looked at naked girls. I remember being scared shitless, thinking someone would catch us anytime doing that. I eventually moved far away, and my contact with him became very limited. This sounds like every young guy at that age's situation. Like back when I was younger, there was no internet, so it was always magazines. And a lot of these magazines that the young guys would come across were rather old, because it wasn't exactly easy to get a hold of them. Then the internet came about, and everybody got a personal computer in their house, mainly for the internet in the mid to late 90s, and the game changed. But basically, this pretty much sounds like every young boy's situation. But this guy takes it to a whole new level. He says, the new area that I lived was new, and I had to take some time adjusting myself to the new environment. I was an introvert at the time, and to this day, still am, remembering spending most of my time alone. Eventually, I found myself falling into the trap of porn and the other thing, because I was bored and did not know what to do in my free time. I do have a dad, but I don't have that much of a close relationship with him. In other words, when he was young, at a very important age, his early teenage years, he needed a strong male guide to guide him to be doing other things other than spending all his day on his computer looking at you-know-what. He says, I am a good-looking guy, so attracting women physically was never a problem. My problem was engaging with them socially without stuttering or coming off as a creepy, needy guy. I had a girlfriend in the 8th grade, and I remember her dumping me a month after because I did not like the fact that she would flirt with her guy friends whenever she saw them. I struggled throughout high school, and that was my fault alone. It was my first relationship, and I thought it would last forever, and I did not know how to handle the breakup. I was naive at the time, and I did not know better, but what can I say? Dude, it's a learning process. Very few guys are actually that good and smooth with girls early on. I remember in junior high, there was this one kid that I went to school with, all junior high and high school, and I remember meeting him in the 7th grade because we had a whole bunch of elementary schools come together for junior high. 7th grade, 12 years old, 13 years old. This guy was the smoothest dude I think I've ever met back in the 7th grade. And this guy had a different girlfriend like every month. I mean, this guy was knee-deep in you-know-what, okay? But aside from guys like him, most of us were completely clueless. So, for you guys watching this, don't feel bad. I was the same way, believe me. He says here, I relapsed on porn and struggled socially throughout all of high school. I got good grades, but my mentality was that my life was miserable because I did not have a girlfriend. Fast forward to my college years, and I was still the same awkward, lonely, and single addict. I majored in accounting because I absolutely love numbers, and I still do to this day. My despair got the better of me, and I met a girl in college. She was also a needy, desperate type as I, and I remember her telling me that when we met that she wanted to get married right after college and have 8 kids. I knew it was a huge red flag, but I did not know better at the time. I kept texting and talking to her because it was the only conversation and the only female friend I ever had. So this guy spent all of high school wishing he had a girlfriend, and in college, kind of the same thing. And I get, obviously, for guys, you want to, obviously, you obviously want to get some as much as you can, and this guy certainly mentioned that he wasn't very smooth and comfortable around the ladies, even though he was a good-looking guy and had no problem attracting them initially. But your looks will get your foot in the door, but you actually got to have a personality and some confidence to actually keep them interested. And the fact that he was just so focused on the girlfriend, you can see where this is going to go downhill real quick. Because guys, when you make girls or women your purpose, they're going to lose interest, okay? Because that whole relationship thing and bonding thing, that's a feminine quality. That's more what women do, while the guys should be out chasing their goals and their ambitions and excellence, okay? Which ultimately this guy will eventually do, but it takes him a few more years. But most guys make the mistake of doing that. And again, when I was younger, I did the same thing, so I can't judge too much. I'm just pointing these things out, especially to you younger guys that feel like, you're in this kind of trap. Chase your goals, chase your ambitions, to be chasing after girls. You can have fun with girls, don't get me wrong, but that can't be your sole purpose for getting out of bed every morning. That can be your sole purpose for going to the gym, your sole purpose for saving money and making money, okay? You do it for you and for what you want. The girls can be a side benefit, as a little benefit after all the other things, right? And by the way, he mentioned that she had all these red flags. She wants to get married right out of college and have all these kids. But because this guy had very limited options and very obviously low confidence in himself, he took what he could get. End of story. If this guy had a lot of confidence in himself, if he was good with women, if he was dating regularly, you think he would settle for a girl who said, I want to get married right out of college and have a whole bunch of kids? Hell no. But when you have a whole lot of options, you settle for things you know darn well you can do better than. Fast forward 1 year in 2019, and we started dating. And like all relationships, it was fun in the beginning, and I always tried to be a good boyfriend and did what she said because I wanted to keep her. You hear what he said? I did everything she said because I wanted to keep her and be a good boyfriend. Guys, where does that mentality come from? Movies and television, because you see in movies and TV, the guy is the nice guy. He does everything that she wants and all that. And how does that usually work out in real life? Okay, in the movies, the guy can do that and he'll get the girl and all that. In real life, if you do everything the girl wants you to do, if you're a complete pushover, complete doormat, you're going to turn her off like that. Even if in the beginning she was really into you, okay? Because girls like guys that actually have a pair and will stand up to them when they're being difficult or being completely out of line. And also they want a guy that has his own life and has his own interest and all that. Guys that do that, notice the guys that don't do any of that stuff, they're the ones that attract all the women. So be like them, and you don't have to be a jackass about it. Just simply, you're yourself, and you're not trying to be a pleaser. Pleasers turn people off. He says, boy, was I so wrong, and so much time was wasted. See, he knows. We dated for 1 year until October of 2020, and I gotta say, thank God that I didn't get to the marriage part. I called her every night, and she believed in romance movies and fairy tales and the myth of the one, which I know is BS at this point. Why'd you call her every night? I'll tell you why. Because that's what they show you in movies and TV. And I did the same thing early on, my first couple girlfriends. I had this one girlfriend one time. It was the summer of 94. And, we don't see each other in school because school's out. I'd call every day because I didn't know any better. And at one point, and she really liked me. And she at one point said to me, she says, you don't have to call me every day. And she didn't say it rude or she wasn't being mean about it, but she was obviously trying to help me. And I was like, oh, okay. So I stopped calling her every day. Maybe I'd call her every few days. And I noticed that when I did talk to her, she was much more enthusiastic and eager to talk to me when she didn't hear from me for a few days, actually wondering what I was doing and all that. when I talked to her every single day, it was just like, hey, what's up? Not a whole lot of enthusiasm. So don't do that, guys. Don't make the mistake I did and this guy did here, Let them chase after you. And besides, you should be doing something else with your time and then calling the girl every day, But again, I did that same crap, so, I'll be honest here. I learned. He says, towards the end of the relationship, I realized that I was wrong, that having a woman in a man's life is only a compliment and that you are not less happy or any less of a person because you are single. Exactly. The relationship felt forced, honestly, and our goals never connected. Not because I did not want marriage, but because I was not ready and she was. She wanted marriage and kids and a house right after graduating. Thank God for COVID. I stopped calling and texting her every single night. I stopped telling her how much I wanted to keep her for the rest of my life in a well-planned effort to detach from her and eventually get the relationship to end, which worked out, by the way. Well, you should have just ended it if you weren't happy instead of just trying this long, drawn-out process to basically push her away. I get what you were doing there, but the fact that he said here that the relationship felt forced and our goals were never connected, that's because this guy didn't have a whole lot of options, so he took what he could get. Okay, and they had nothing in common and any of that stuff. But when you make yourself a catch and you have lots of options with women, you can be choosy, and that's where you want to be, guys. Fast forward to our last day seeing each other on October 10th, 2020, and I was right. She all of a sudden started going off screaming how she wanted to desperately have her own house, get married, have kids, and live in her own place away from her parents. Keep in mind, this is a girl who has a nice family house, a college education, a nice family, and money in her bank because her 95-year-old grandpa had a health crisis and left her family more than $500,000 in inheritance. Yet she was not happy or satisfied and was desperate out of her mind to rush out and have her life together. One of two things are going on here. Either she was obviously very spoiled growing up, or two, she didn't like her family life, so she wanted to rush and start her own family on her own. A lot of people that have bad family lives growing up, they're very eager early on to start their own family so they can push that aside and correct things, so to speak. But thank God you got out of the relationship with this chick. He says here, I realized at that instant that the relationship was not healthy and that it was forced, and I called it quits right there, and then I haven't seen her since. I promised myself that I would never get into another relationship before I took care and improved myself in so many ways. Now we're talking. It's taken him to his early 20s to figure that out, but you know what? Most guys don't figure that out ever. So good for you. He plenty of screwing up growing up, but he did what most guys do anyway. That's just how you learn. And guys, by the way, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to screw up, make mistakes. That's how you learn, okay? Very few people actually get things right the first time around, okay? He continues, in just 3 months, I have quit the porn and the other thing. I've been actively going to the gym in which I work and started a fitness routine. I have a clear vision in my head of what I want out of life and my own business life. I have a goal to start my own accounting business. I'm currently on my way to learning a new language, German. I've been rereading more books, meditating, and over the past 3 months, without porn and the other thing, and it's been great. I'm better socially, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I do better in the gym and have more energy. I have more self-confidence, and I can approach women better without putting them in pedestals because I know I now have a purpose to go after. This guy's doing great. I couldn't care less if a beautiful woman rejects me or not because I know my worth and I know I'm the prize. I don't live in a fantasy dream world in my head anymore, and I have better goals and a better relationship with my family. I may not know how to start some of the goals I've set for myself, but I'm unwilling to give up because I'm ready to build a better life for myself. No one else will do it for me. Exactly. You got to make things happen for yourself, guys. That is how it is, okay? You can have people along the way that will help guide you and be good mentors, okay? Always embrace a good mentor because we don't know everything, guys, okay? Always seek out a good mentor that can help you out. Friends, family, but the right people, I might add. And as for all these other things, going to the gym, meditating, do all these things, awesome. The guy says that he loves accounting and he wants to start his own accounting firm one day. My recommendation would be is that obviously get a job working for an accounting firm and spend a number of years there getting really, really good at your trade. Okay, getting really, really good at it, mastering every possible scenario, and of course, observe how the operation is run and things like that. Just be careful when you start working there about the whole non-competition clause that they make you sign one, because you don't want to work there for a while and then quit and then start your own company and get sued because you signed a non-competition clause. So make sure either you don't do that, or at the very least you know the specific terms, because a lot of people work for businesses like that and they eventually take clients with them when they go off on their own. Okay, so just be aware of that. But yeah, work for a place like that, learn everything you can learn. Consider it'll be your job, but also kind of like an internship where you learn how things are done and go off on your own. My accountant, I've had him for 20 years, and he worked for a company for years, and he eventually went on his own, and he's been doing great ever since. I want this to be an example to every man out there, especially those who are addicted to porn. Addiction is a real deal, but you have the power in your hands to not let it dictate your life. Every day is a new chance to change yourself for the better. Never chase women, but chase excellence. It pays off a lot better than chasing girls in the long run. Thank you for taking the time to read my story, and have a wonderful day. Well, man, that's great. I'm proud of you. That's great you're doing this, and you're young. You got your whole life ahead of you, and you just keep doing this. You keep focusing on yourself, your goals, your purpose. You're going to be in an excellent place. Now, you're still in your early 20s, so for majority of guys, you're still on the low man on the totem pole. Not as low in your teenage years, but you're still the low man on the totem pole when it comes to women. So focus right now on your goals. If you haven't done already, get that accounting job. Learn everything you can. Become a master at your job. Spend your free time learning more and more and more to make yourself better in accounting. Perhaps everything you can with regards to finance, investing, everything related to that. So that one day when you're ready to go off on your own, you have all these skills right there, and you learn by working there. And of course, hitting the gym, being healthy and all that, saving your money, growing your money. You're going to be an accountant, so you're going to be good with your money, okay? Invest it. I mean, a lot of accountants aren't the bigger risk takers when it comes to investing, but hopefully you recognize you're in your 20s so you can invest this money and have more risk, because you're not going to need it for a long time. By the time you get to your 30s, believe me, man, if you have maybe your own business by then, you're going to be one hell of a catch. And as you are chasing excellence, you're chasing your goals, guess what's going to happen? They're going to chase after you. Isn't that interesting? The guys that spend their time focusing on their goals and their purpose and their ambitions, they don't have to chase women. They're going to be looking for them. The guys that chase after women, they're going to be after the other guys. So make your goal for this next, till you're 30 years old, overwhelmingly, your goals, your purpose, mastering your trade, getting great at it. But this is awesome, man. I'm really happy to hear this. And so from plenty of you guys watching this right now that are in a situation where things aren't as good, you can turn things around, focus on your goals and ambitions and all that. Your life will be so much better. And even if it takes you a while to get where you want to be, the mere fact that you are taking steps every day, even if they're very little steps, you're going to feel good, because you know that you're on the journey, you're on the way to get where you want to be. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.